Of course. So the world famous popped in for a sandwich, left with a limited edition bourbon.
Yep. We barely made it to the bullet pick on time.
And we barely made it to bullet on time.
I don't know what I was thinking geography-wise. That was so horrible.
Welcome everyone to episode 143 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation in here all week long. For your hosts, Anthony, Kenny, and Steven. Hello, guys.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Doing well?
Good. How you doing, man?
Sounds like someone was screaming for the Super Bowl.
Is that what it was?
No, I'm good, man. How about you guys? What's going on? How are you all?
So I'm doing pretty well. We're coming off of the Super Bowl, which was, I don't know. I thought it was a great game, but I still couldn't get over how many people on the onlines were upset about various things. It was a lot of online upset
Swifties.
people. Swifties, all that stuff was just, it was like a lightning rod. You know, as a Cleveland Browns fan, there is never a time where I ever get to actually root for my own team in the Super Bowl. So I've gotten used to rooting for other teams.
Yeah.
And I actually was like hoping for the Chiefs to win. So I was happy with the outcome. But then when I got online, I was like, dang, people were really, really mad about.
Why were they mad?
About Swifties, like Kenny was saying, right?
About Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I was wanting the 49ers to win, though.
Why were you wanting the 49ers to win, sir?
I mean, the Chiefs won, 3 of the last 5-6 years?
I think so, yeah.
Not a, dynasty. Yeah. Since it's not my team, I don't really care to have a dynasty built. But also like the quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant. So he was the last draft pick, so I thought that would be pretty cool for him to win one.
Oh, yeah, that was a good story for Brock.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy.
Purdy.
Yeah, that's a good name, Purdy.
Cute little story for a couple seconds.
Yeah. What about you, Steven? Did you care who won?
But the house was going for the Chiefs. So.
Oh, the house was for the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, were your kids into it like mine because of Swifty?
We stayed up until the very end, and he wanted to watch the trophy ceremony and everything.
Was it because of Swift, though? Was it because of Taylor Swift? Or
no, it's because of Mahomes.
Okay, all right. Well, see, your son...
He's a bad boy, though.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing for me is I was perfectly fine to watch for whatever reason, but my kids definitely were in it for... My son called Travis Kelce. He said, hey, Kels just made a good catch. I was like, Kelsey's calling Kels. And I was like, Kelsey, buddy. But they were definitely into it for Taylor Swift. And I was fine with that. I don't care. Yeah, why not? You know?
I got him to watch.
I just like that was a good game. Since they don't have a team either way, I just like the good seesaw back and forth. That was really cool.
And I like how they didn't explain the overtime rules until like the very end.
Right. Do you know that if you Googled NFL overtime rules, like it was overloaded? Their website was hanging, right?
I would imagine.
Yeah, because everyone was looking it up. And even my wife asked me, she said, how does this work? And I had to think, because remember what used to be sudden death? It was like kick the field goal, win the game.
Which was dumb.
It was dumb, yeah. And then once they revised it, I just kind of like had one of those take my man card. I was just sitting there and I'm like, I don't know, honey. I need to Google this. And everybody else was too.
Well, the clock didn't help you because that was useless.
Yes.
The whole clock, in overtime was useless. So
right. That's true.
Is it? I mean, they had a chance but I wonder, I don't know if the clock still probably played into play.
No, it didn't matter until I think each team had their full, I guess, chance to win. I don't think it didn't matter.
Then why they have the clock on?
Exactly. I don't think it wasn't up for any reason. Maybe just to keep it in some order to the game.
But wait a minute, though. At the end of the game, though, what would have happened? I freaked out. I was screaming at the TV. My wife's like, what's the matter with you? I'm like, why isn't he calling a timeout? I'm like, why isn't he calling a timeout?
I think it would just start again.
But they were losing, weren't they? They weren't tied, were they?
No. You were talking about when the clock was at 3 seconds?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have. I don't think it would have mattered. It's from what I would have gathered.
Oh, I thought they were going to, if they would have thrown like an incomplete pass or something, they would have to kick a field goal, at least tie the game.
No, I think it was just by downs.
I did not look that part up to see.
Really? Okay.
From what I've been told, I think
but you are aware, and I just learned this today, that the playoff rules were now even different than regular season.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Don't know I don't know how many years ago it was where they changed it to where, because it used to be just whoever basically won the coin toss, if they received, if they kicked the field goal, game was over. Mm-hmm. So they changed it years ago to whoever got the ball first. If you kicked the field goal, the other team got a chance to get the ball as well. But if you scored a touchdown on the first possession, then the game was over. Right. Well, with the Bills losing last year or the year before,
then
that happened. So now, no matter what, the second team gets
an opportunity with the ball. Interesting.
So but I don't know if the clock still played into that. It's the only thing I didn't look up.
Man, that's crazy. Well, we played pretty low key this year. I know that you were partying with Michael, weren't you?
Yeah. Like I didn't hear any of the TV. So
really?
Yeah, I know people were complaining about Romo.
Yeah.
I didn't really hear any commercials either.
What were people complaining about Romo for? They'd be on a podcast and talk about football. Bourbon podcast. Yeah. Layers of whatever he was saying. That guy, man, he drives me nuts. Anyway, go ahead.
So like I didn't hear anything. So
good for you.
I've watched the commercials on YouTube this morning.
Well, there were some great commercials, and then Kenny, you had people over, right?
Not many.
Not many, okay.
I had a few over. I was out of town Friday and Saturday, so I didn't want to play anything big Sunday in case I got held up. But I got back in time.
Family?
So I had a couple family members over.
Yeah, we had my parents down and had some good food. And I guess my last question is, did you guys drink anything? And if you were drinking, were you drinking any bourbon?
I was drinking our Four Roses pick.
Oh, yeah? Did you take it over there?
Yep.
And what did everyone think?
Michael's the only one that tried it.
And what did he say?
He liked it.
Okay.
And then I gave him that, I brought over that Bull Run sample that we got.
Oh, yeah?
And took that over there, and he liked it too.
Oh, the Camus sample. That's the one that you took from Camus Whiskey Club. Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, I wondered what Michael would think of the Four Roses pick, because he doesn't usually go for the high proof, right?
Or the high price. Yeah, the high price.
High price or high proof. He's usually kind of shut down on that stuff. So that's cool.
He liked it. The nosing he liked a lot.
Yeah. Well, I went down a little rabbit hole with some samples. So a person who is actually a former grad of the college that I happen to teach at is into bourbon now. And so I won't give his last name, but I met up with him for a deal. And so Jack, he gave me some samples, and he gave me a sample of Whiskey Thief of rye that was similar to the one that we tasted for the Camus blinds.
Oh, really?
I actually liked it. It was sweeter. It actually had still had that little bit of fiery aftertaste. So I was happy with that. But then he also gave me a sample of a Masters Select 130 proof Frey Ranch. And is it Fry or Frey Ranch? Oh, wait a minute. I may have struck a nerve with Kenny, and also small batch.
No, you're good.
So
you're good.
You're good? Why? What's wrong?
No, you didn't strike a nerve. I was from what I've had before.
So wait a minute. So this is where the Super Bowl pregame got a little bit off the rails. So I poured the first sample that he gave me was a 90 proof Frey Ranch small batch. And I kid you not, I did the Kenny House rules. I took a sip of it.
Threw it out of the drain.
I went, oh, man. And then I was like, what is that? And I drain poured it. It was only a 1 ounce sample, so I guess Jack's never going to give me a sample again if he ever meets up with me. And then the 130 proof, which I thought would be a lot better. It was better, but better is relative. I don't know what they're doing over there, because we have to maybe do an episode on Frey Ranch, because people are speaking praises. But for those two samples, I was not impressed. So that was my way I started. And then as the game went on, I actually drank some rare character malt, exceptional malt. And trying to think what else I had. I think I may have had a Copper Craft pick and also a sample that Jason gave me. So I did a fair amount of bourbon during the Super Bowl. But it was kind of, that Frey Ranch got me started off on the wrong foot, man.
That tastes in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had zero. I had so much Friday and Saturday that I opted to not drink Sunday.
We can't talk about that, but Kenny had his own Super Bowl before the Super Bowl, didn't you, sir?
Fun.
Yeah.
Did you drink plenty of Water Boy afterwards?
Between Friday and Saturday, I had probably 6 of the nicer Water Boys, the weekend recovery ones.
Oh.
And I had like 3 of the Z-Biotics and probably 15 of my Plan A's. So
I asked him about that on text. I said, Kenny, did you take your probiotics in your Water Boy? And he said, yeah. And I said, the Charizard kind. He was like, what? So I can only imagine what you both are thinking sometimes of the things that I text. Like, where's my brain, or what planet am I on?
I just assume you're doing voice to text. So.
Thank you for giving me the benefit of the doubt.
I assume you wouldn't actually type out some of the stuff you type
out. Oh, man. That's why I finally turned the passcode lock on my phone. But yeah, the last thing I want to say, though, is, and you guys don't have to weigh in on this if you don't want, but the amount of hate that I was seeing for Kels, as my son would call him, and Taylor Swift, the only thing I want to say about that, not to be a lightning rod, is this. I am the first person to be very petty, okay? Especially when it comes to sports. I can say some petty things in the moment about sports. I will say this. I didn't really like Travis Kelce too much before this year. Like, I liked his hustle. I liked that he's from Ohio. I thought he was kind of oafish, kind of, doofusy, kind of with his comments and things. Great talent, okay? But the two of them together, for me, it just really, worked. I liked the whole story. And it seems that I'm in the minority there. Like, it looked like 75%, at least of my Facebook feed, was not liking that. And I wondered if that's a problem with those people, or if I'm just getting too old to hate like I used to. No. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I'm actually going to give his podcast a try.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
The one with the brothers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know what it's called, but I think I'm going to give it a try and see what it's about.
Look at that. His star power is increasing. Kenny looks like he's going to bite his tongue over there. He looks like he's probably
I mean, there's so much hate out there for that situation and them, and I don't really care either way. I mean,
yeah.
I can see both sides. I mean, people that get into sports because they just are wanting to stay away from other things, and that's brought into that. But at the same point, it's just a few shots here and there. It's
right.
So I'm fine either way.
You got Michael Jordan's son dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, and I'm supposed to worry about a good old wholesome relationship between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I mean, come on. That's a little bit weirder than anything ever, right? Anyway, I like getting into the sports stuff, and this Super Bowl had something for everybody. There was just I didn't look at the numbers yet, but I'm pretty sure that this was one of the most watched of all time, I think.
Well, we got another review this week, Anthony and Kenny.
We actually had another 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and the title of the review was A Must-Listen Podcast. The person said, I look forward to listening every week. Great reviews and a wealth of knowledge from all of you guys. See, there's an acknowledgement of all of us. Said, can't wait to see you continue to grow. Cheers. And signed Ben Philpott from Beyond Bourbon. So I don't know Ben. Do you know Ben, Kenny?
I do know Ben.
Okay, awesome. How do you know him?
Is he local?
He's a local guy.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, originally met him. He was grabbing a lot of Elijah Craig barrel proofs from me. I believe him and his father like to drink those. And then he started grabbing just various bottles and samples, and I saw where he launched his little YouTube thing.
Yeah.
So then I know, so he's definitely looking just for different bottles and,
right,
good releases and things like that. And I'm not going to ruin what he's got coming out soon, but he did grab a bunch of samples from me recently for something they're going to do in a few weeks. So,
wow,
it should be pretty cool what they're going to do coming up.
So sharing with another up and coming member of the community who's not just part of the drinking scene, but is also creating media, which is really cool. We always like to see that. And I know I watched one of his videos where he was going out hunting, which I thought's cool because I always wanted to mount a camera or something and go walking into retail stores and doing crazy stuff. I mean, he didn't do that.
How boring would it be to put a camera on, use your freaking security badge, walk in the back of Total Wine and grab a bottle? That's not hunting.
You see him every day, right?
I mean, seriously, no one wants to watch that.
Oh my God. Actually, the first time I ever put any kind of camera on, if I do that, is going to be when I make my return to Total Wine, which
that'd be awesome.
It may or may not ever happen.
You're not going to know anyone that works there.
I know, right? I mean, all the old people are going to be gone. I'm going to be walking in there with a chip on my shoulder, and they're going to be like, who's this guy? Like, oh man, none of y'all even know who I am anymore.
Where's my Wellers?
I want the green and the orange. But seriously, hey, Ben, we really appreciate the review. And also wish you the best on the pursuit of your show, Beyond Bourbon. So we'll be checking that out too.
Thank you very much. And if you'd like a review, just give us a shout out on Apple Podcast or Spotify or however. Next time we record, we will give you one. Well, boys, for this evening, we have a bottle of 2023 Yellowstone Limited Edition.
All right. So the Yellowstone Limited Edition Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey comes to us from the Limestone Branch Distillery in Lebanon, Kentucky.
Oh yeah,
and they're owned by Luxco. I think they have an operating stake in that company. The bottle date is 2023. The ABV is 50.5%. The proof is 101. This is non-age stated, but we do know from the press release, and I think from maybe the front of the bottle, that it has a blend of 7, 13, and 16-year-old bourbons finished in Tokaji casks. I hope I pronounced that right. It's kind of like you with the Sauvignon, Stephen, right?
What the hell?
Garrard County.
There you go, Garrard County. The mash bill, not sure on this mash bill because I think they have some source stuff in here and they probably have their own distillate. That's probably what the 7-year-old is. And other than that, the price is $99.99, but most stores that I've seen usually price it, at least in Lexington, at about $120 to $140. And they also, it's worth noting, produced around 10,000 of these bottles. You're really whistling a lot tonight. Kenny. Oh, my gosh.
Well, we got this for all of free 30 for the pod.
Yes. Sir, please explain this free.
Well, our buddy Hector, he dropped this bottle off to me a couple weeks ago and was like, hey, here's a bottle for the podcast. Do a review on it. And then once we reviewed, he's going to pick it back up. But yeah, he dropped it off brand new.
Wow.
Unopened. Hector with, if you're down in the Corbin area, Brooklyn Brothers Pizzeria.
I looked up the pictures of it before the show, and it looks really good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
They had a nice looking pizzas. They had a Chicago style, which I enjoy. There was a place in Lexington. Do you remember this place? Slice Chicago?
I'm
it was
not
up
sure
by campus.
I never had Slice Chicago.
The pizza, you would get the Chicago style large.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, the sauce
Deep
was on
dish?
top. Oh,
yeah.
I'm not kidding you. Probably weighed 10 to 15 pounds.
No way.
Yeah, it was delicious. Do you remember it, Kenny?
No, I do not remember that.
Okay.
But I do love Chicago style pizza.
Yeah.
So they do Chicago and New York style there, or they do both?
I think the pictures look like they do both.
Yeah, I think the picture looked like it had the Chicago
Well, I just
style.
saw Brooklyn Brothers, so I was thinking New York. And
We didn't look at the pictures.
Yeah.
Well, dang, I need to look at the pictures, and I also think that we need a road trip here because I need to go out and experience some of these places in Kentucky that I've never gone to, especially if we know someone who has a great establishment that we want to support.
You can check the pictures out, and you don't have to go into incognito mode either, Anthony.
Oh, I don't. Okay, there we go. Finally, don't have to hide. So that's really nice, man. This is the second time he's given us a bottle for the podcast, so that's really nice of him to do that.
We'll have to when we get to 5, we'll have to give him something.
I know. He's going to have to join us. I think he's going to have to join us for a review. What do you think? Or else we'll have to take the equipment and go to the restaurant and do a review out there.
We are portable.
Yeah, so talking about this bottle, I should note, so do you guys have a lot of experience with Yellowstone or not? No?
I've had...
Steven's got something else.
Steven's got something good. And you go first then, because mine's boring.
All right, so I think we've mentioned this event one time, but several years ago, we'll call this BC, before COVID.
Okay.
We went to a gala in town. This was Michael, some other friends. We got invited to it. It was a pretty expensive event.
All right.
And for some reason, we got super excited about they had Yellowstone like in the tube.
Oh.
And this was like free,
Yeah. And did it go well for you?
Yeah, it went well. It was a fun time. They had silent auctions and MCs and food and everything. So
it's actually good that you brought up that you were drinking it from the tube because what you were probably drinking was an earlier version of this.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So I think they switched to this style of bottle in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Prior to 2020, the Yellowstones that released, they would always be in a tube.
Yep.
I think they started their LEs in 2015. They always got either some years it's just a straight bourbon, exceptional bourbon. Most years they try to finish it in some kind of secondary cask. And they switched to this bottle in 2020. And I'd be really, really honest here. It's a nice looking bottle, but I preferred the tube and the wine bottle. That was my jam. I like that better.
Yeah.
That's a good looking bottle, though.
It is. And I don't know what else really looks like it. It kind of has like a...
Well, I think the shoulders of it remind me of that Jack Select bottle.
Okay.
Is that what I'm thinking? Is that right? What I'm thinking about, guys?
Gentleman Jack?
Is it Gentleman Jack?
I think it is like
Okay.
a Gentleman Jack has its slender kind of shoulders and then maybe a little...
Not the same height, but just like
Yeah.
the way that the shoulders are in the bottle.
Garrison Brothers.
And the way they do the little, it's not a tack strip, but they have the big strip that goes over top.
Yeah.
It's very easy to break if you grab the bottle wrong. So.
Oh, are you talking about from experience now, sir?
Yeah.
You've broken the strip? Is that how you opened it?
No, I mean, back I had a 2020 or 2021
Yeah.
that I grabbed and picked it up by the strip and it broke, and this guy did not want to buy it after that. I'm like, dude, it like barely cracked. So it's like how old fits, you gotta be careful with the strips.
He drove it off the car lot and lost all value.
I know I did, man.
Did you end up drinking that?
No.
Somebody ended up...
What I did was I bought two of them, and I drank one and sold the other one.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we missed out because I was reading that last year's LE was a 16, 15, and 7-year-old bourbon blend in Marsala Superiore casks. What is that? Is that like cooking wines?
Was that 2022?
That was a 2022 version.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I can't help myself, but when I look at these kind of things, I'm like, I've never heard of that before. And I think they did an Ambarana, or no, they did Armagnac finished one in 21 or 20, I think. And so they've been doing some pretty interesting secondary finishes. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever had anything with Tokaji or Tokaji. How do you pronounce that? Do you know?
However you said it sounds good to me.
Sounds solid.
Is it wrong that I thought that was like some kind of a Japanese whiskey? I just, the name of it struck me as being like Asian or something.
It's wine
like
though,
that.
right?
But it's a wine, and it's wine from Hungary, apparently.
Oh,
like
way off.
Yeah, way off is right. But it's apparently like a sweet white wine from Hungary, and that's the cask that they were using to finish this. But
yeah.
Have either of you been to Limestone Branch Distillery or had any experience with the products that is notable to you? Either of you, other than Steven, you just told us.
Yeah,
about
that.
the gala.
But
yeah,
I know that didn't you had a little burst of limestone collecting?
Yeah, I think I did. I think I grabbed some of the single barrel picks. Those are what, Kenny, like the 4 to 6 year old ones?
I was going to say, I had a Justin's House of Bourbon pick that was Heaven Hill sourced. I mean, it's 100% Heaven Hill.
Yeah.
So my guess is the older stuff in here is probably Heaven Hill.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it could be Beam, I guess, but I think it's possibly Heaven Hill in there.
Well, I did have a phase where I was buying the single barrels and drinking them pretty regularly.
They were pretty good.
Yeah.
They're what, like $59, $69?
Yeah, and then there was,
I remember,
it's going to be an episode bringing up Total Wine. I remember having like 5 different ones at Total Wine at some point in time, and they were different prices based on their proof and age.
Yeah.
But I remember you got one year or one of them that you did not like at all.
Yeah, so
Out of it ruined it for you or what? What's that?
That's probably the one you had to pay for.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't remember.
Free
it was
tastes better.
What? It was like I'm trying to remember now. I think that when I first had some of the picks, they were tasting like that peanut Heaven Hill flavor, and they were really nice, caramelly, sweet, things like that. And then I don't know what it was. I started to like get some that were very earthy, very dirt tasting, and it kind of turned me off.
They probably switched to Beam.
They probably did. Whatever they switched to, if they did switch, was in those single barrels. It kind of turned me off altogether. Then I had some of their little, like, they do these little experimental releases that are like in a 375 that say Limestone Branch on them. And I had a couple of those I liked too. They did like certain ryes and wheats and things like that. But the distillery itself, I've only been there once. And when we went there, it was a pass-through. I don't know if we're going to tell that story or not. But I've also seen them out sampling products in the community. I may have told the story at some point in time, but the main people at Limestone Branch are, of course, Stephen Beam, who's their master distiller, and he is related to the Beam family. He's a 7th-generation distiller of the Beam Dant family. And then Stephen Fonte, who is like their brand ambassador, and one heck of a storyteller. And so I remember one time I was at Liquor Barn, and they were sampling out minor case rye, and Stephen Fonte was talking a mile a minute and talking about all these things. I can't remember what he was saying, but all I know is he made me want to drink that whiskey. And here's the thing. Not only did he make me want to drink it, but then once I had it sampled, I actually went and bought a bottle afterwards. And I swear to God, it had tasted nothing like it did that day I sampled it. So like the story and the aura he created actually made me go buy a bottle of minor case rye, I believe. Mm-hmm. That was the last time I bought one. But anyway, he's a good salesman, man. He's a good salesman.
I always find those kind of people really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
The people that can like storytell.
Yeah.
And like the charisma, the aura of that.
Oh yeah,
it's just amazing.
He lives it. So if you get a chance to go visit them and you get a tour with him, he will make you love the brand for sure.
Before even trying it.
Right, exactly.
Well, boys, speaking of trying it, should we go for our nose to try?
Sure thing. Should we go for
our nose to try?
No, our nose to try because it's not tasting. Keep great. Up.
All right. So nosing to try. Here we go.
Speaking of that, should we go in for our first nosing?
Nosy. It's a lot of nose.
Nose best.
Fruity to me.
Yeah, very fruity. It's only 101 proof, so not a lot of ethanol. The color of this strikes me a little bit. We don't talk about color all the time, but this is like a apple juice color.
Yeah, it's not as dark as you would think.
Yeah, definitely not as dark, but I wonder if that's also the influence of the wine. because it's a white wine cask or something. I don't know.
And that fruit is really, really strong in it.
Yeah, it's fruity, and it's not like fruity in a dark fruit way. We should note that.
No,
It's more of like a appley grape, white grapes. Those are the kind of aromas that we're getting here, not necessarily
pear.
Yeah, pear. Yep. Yeah, so it's definitely lighter. And for having 16 and 13-year-old whiskey in here,
I feel like every once in a while I get a faint like vanilla or caramel in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it comes and goes real quick.
Well, not a lot of depth of oak on the nose.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
No depth of oak, but I guess that could be at the low proof as well. So I guess we'll have to find out what it's like when we start tasting it. But before we do that, Kenny, I have to call on you here, sir. I mentioned earlier that we went to Limestone Branch Distillery, and that day we happened to be together. It was me, you, and
a homeless guy.
Our mutual homeless guy, our mutual buddy, and
Joy. Pump it up. Pain.
Well, he really needed to. So we were
sleep it off.
Yeah, we were on our way. We were on our way to Bullet, and this is going to make no sense to anybody that lives in Kentucky. But I think we thought, and why did we think this? Do you remember why we thought this? We thought they had some kind of special.
Totally screwed up. Oh, okay. Well, two things. You had coworker, somebody
yes.
that said they had a special limited edition high malt that tasted amazing.
Right. That's it.
And, we knew that several of the Yellowstone picks were Heaven Hill sourced.
Right.
And we also know that the Rare Character Exceptional Series malt whiskeys are Heaven Hill sourced.
Right.
So we were hoping that we could get lucky and grab a $230 Rare Character Exceptional Series.
Right.
For under Yellowstone's label at like a way cheaper price.
Yeah, that's what we had concocted in our heads.
So that's why we were thinking about going there.
Yeah.
And then I got my geography totally screwed up. I thought it was like close and kind of on the way to our bullet pick or not too far. It is so far freaking away from there. I was so stupid for just saying that.
We were driving there and we were like, we weren't even thinking about it. Then we got in the car to go to our bullet pick and we were like, so we got 50 or 55 minutes, I think it was, ahead of us, which was crazy.
Please reference maps.google.com before listening to this segment.
Dude. So we were so far away from where we needed to be. Dude. And then the funniest part is Caleb was, I don't know, how do you want to say? What was he doing? He was just tired, okay?
Caleb was very tired.
He was very tired. And we really stopped and we were looking around, and then we lost him for a second. And then when we found him, he was back in the car and he was asleep, which I thought was freaking hilarious. And then we headed on our way over to Bullet. Yeah, we didn't find anything of note at Yellowstone, but we were there for like maybe about 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. It was kind of awkward because Stephen Fonte, who I mentioned a second ago, he was outside, I'm assuming, with some guys who'd done a barrel pick because they looked like they were eating lunch or something out in the front there of the area. But they got a nice spot over there. It's rustic.
Yeah, it was really good looking place.
Yeah, good looking place.
They were eating lunch?
Nice. Yeah,
they were eating at lunchtime.
What's that?
Was it kind of like they met up there, for a quick bite during lunch?
No. Oh, you mean like just popping by the
deli,
the gift shop for a sandwich or something like that? Yeah, maybe. And if our listening audience doesn't know what that reference was about, I have to clarify here for a second because wait a minute, this has become like almost famous here in Lexington. So the Hamburg Liquor Barn actually has like a full sandwich bar. Like they got, I don't know, spreads, meats, whatever, cheese. I have never eaten lunch there, but a lot of people.
And they have a lot of bread you can choose from.
A lot of bread. And a lot of people actually do go out there. And what they do is they park it in front of there. They get pours and they sit and they wait all day for releases. And this has actually become quite a common thing in Lexington. In fact, there's been a few times where I've stopped out there. I walk in, I look over at that area at Hamburg at Liquor Barn, and I see the same group of characters. There's usually about 10, 15 of them, and I'm just like...
There's that many?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
And so the only time I was ever pleasantly surprised by anyone there was, I think, when Nathan Taylor was there. I was excited to see him and talk to him, but he was legit there to have some pours and some lunch. So there you go. So I don't think the same thing was going on over there at Yellowstone. I do think they had just finished a barrel pick, but that made me... I was laughing when you said that. Oh, yeah, we got a sandwich. Get over here. Of course, so the world famous popped in for a sandwich, left with a limited edition bourbon.
Yep.
We barely made it to the bullet pick on time.
And we barely made it to bullet on
I don't
time.
know what I was thinking geography-wise. That was so horrible.
That's all right, though. I mean, and you're the Kentucky guy, right? Well, Caleb is, too.
Well, you weren't much help with Anthony, though.
Yeah. I was just driving the car where we're supposed to go. Yeah. Head down, going where we're going.
We
That's
drove
it.
circles around Garrard County.
Well, let's go for our first taste.
Let's do it.
Well, that fruit really comes forward through the nose to the palate.
Right.
And also getting some spice mid-tongue.
I'm surprised at how spicy it finishes.
Yeah.
This might be something that stumped me a little bit. I'm without words. And I can't really say bad or good right now. I'm just without words.
It tastes like a potent apple juice or fruit. I guess white grape juice.
I can run with that. Like a lighter.
Not like children's juice.
It's
just
concentrated. Yeah, like a concentrated lighter fruit flavor, and then
On the front, and then it's just pepper and spice on the end.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the end. I'm getting like a lot of black pepper,
Yeah.
spicy, not necessarily oaky. I wonder what the mixture is in percentages of 16, 13, and 7 because
low.
I feel like there's probably a very, very little couple drops of 16 in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is so those of us, maybe that's where I was going with the single barrel stuff. Maybe some of the single barrels I had before were having Hill Source, and then they started doing their own distillate. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do think that I would have to guess a large percentage of this is probably the 7-year.
I mean, I would think.
Yeah.
Because it's not super oaky.
Nope.
But it's so fruity that possibly that wine cask is kind of overpowering anything, whether it's overpowering oakiness too or not.
We have yet to have anything with that wine cask before, right?
We haven't had it with that exact wine cask,
Right.
not that I know of.
Well, I realize I must have screwed up already because I'm looking at the front of the bottle now, and it says this is bottle number 15348, and I said I thought there was 10,000 bottles.
Wait, that's an Old Carter's bottle too.
What?
That's an Old Carter's bottle too.
Oh,
You
yeah?
really messed up.
Right. Oh my gosh. It's thoughtfully crafted. So regardless of what you say, it's thoughtful. Okay, it's thoughtful.
I did say 15,348.
Right.
But
So
online they said 10,000.
that's what I thought. Well, there must be more. There must be more. Maybe the online just lied to me, or maybe the press release is wrong, or maybe
Maybe the Swifties.
There we go. Just blame Taylor Swift. Well, you got an age statement. You don't have an age statement. I don't really know. So I'm not going to call this the Tony Romo bourbon, but it might be. It might be. I'm not sure. Kind of in the middle here. I'm not sure what I think of it. But as we are sipping and trying to come to a conclusion, I get a little caramel note too. The caramel sweetness comes off. That's about the only traditional bourbon flavor I'm getting. There's the caramel vanilla, but it's like mid palate, and then it's all spice, and the front's fruit.
I'm just getting a lot of like apple, white grape, pear.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's massively fruit forward, which I guess was the point, right?
But like it's real subtle. It's
Spicier than I thought it would be for 101 proof.
Right. No, it's definitely got a lot of spice. And so you would think a brand like Yellowstone, I do know of a one way they've capitalized, which makes sense. Apparently the brand name used to be tied to like the national parks or something. I read that somewhere. I don't know the extent of it, so I won't talk about it too much. But I know they did some kind of commemorative edition to kind of like honor that recently. And then also, I don't watch. Are you guys fans of the TV show?
I have not started watching it yet.
You haven't watched it? Do you watch it?
The Yellowstone show.
I did not realize how horrible my two co-hosts are.
What do you mean?
It's a freaking amazing show.
Oh, Kenny, you scared the crap out of me there. I was like, what? So I'm not into Yellowstone.
I love it.
You love it.
Love it.
And
Okay.
and all the spinoffs too?
I love it. Honestly, the spinoffs are as good, if not better.
Wow.
Well, you would have thought, and I could be
Like
wrong
dead
about
serious.
this, couldn't they find a way to capitalize on the popularity of that series? Instead, guess who did capitalize on the popularity of that series?
Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace did.
Well, Yellowstone did like run ads.
For BT.
Oh, wait.
No, run ads between like just truly in commercials. Whereas BT actually partnered with them to be on the show.
Yeah.
Yellowstone they just took out commercials during the show.
Okay.
What, didn't they have a bottle of Weller 12 in the episode?
No, Weller 12. They had several different ones.
Yeah. The Weller 12 one I remember because everyone said like it was part of the boom time for Weller 12, and people were like, "Oh, great! Now Weller 12 is going to be $275 a bottle." After it was in Yellowstone, so I would have liked to see them capitalize more since they have the likeness and the name, and it kind of looks like it could be a rustic old cowboy out west kind of bottle, right? A whiskey flask ish.
Yep, it looks good.
Well, boys, would you pass, try, or buy on the 2023 Yellowstone Limited Edition?
I'll go first.
All right.
Based on the price of this bottle, I would say a quote-unquote pour should be probably $15 to $20. Probably about 15 an ounce. Might be, up or down a little bit. So I think I'm going to go try on this. It's sweet, so if you do prefer something in the sweeter notes, if it was just a little bit peppery and spicy on the end for 101 proof, a little bit watery. So, but it's still good. So, it's definitely not anything bad. But if you kind of like some fruitier, lighter, sweeter stuff, I would definitely give it a solid try.
I will probably. This is 2 weeks in a row. He almost downgraded my decision here.
You got influence. The influence is strong on that side.
I need to start going before him.
There you go.
I am also a try. He almost put me down to a pass when he told me how much it would cost per pour. But I do have to agree if someone doesn't like bourbon, this is another good pour you can do for them.
Right.
That it won't knock their socks off. But I'm like Kenny. I liked it. I feel like it's a lot for what it is. So I'll be a try.
All right. I think that's solid analysis from both of you. And now I have to come in with the analysis.
The official
analysis.
Results.
Yeah. So I've mentioned before in the podcast that I got into really like going crazy for bourbon around 16, 17. And the thing I always appreciated about Yellowstone was it was an accessible LE. And when I say accessible, I could find it on the shelves. People weren't going too crazy for it and actually liked it. I think I went through maybe a 17, 18, those 2 years, and I had another one that I may have sold at some point in time because somebody liked it more than I did or whatever, and I just had it sitting around. So I was a pretty frequent purchaser of Yellowstone LEs. Well, the last couple of years, I think it was the first year I just didn't see it at my local, and it actually sold out. And that kind of put me off too, because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go hunting for this, and I don't see it anywhere. And so with this one, Mr. Long-Winded over here, I'm going to agree with you guys on a try. I'm happy I got to try it, but I'm also going to add this new dimension to it, which is I think you should try it. I think we all think you should try it, but I don't really know that I would go buy a bottle. So that's kind of like a half analysis of saying that I do think it's try-worthy. I think it's got some interesting flavors and depth. But I also can't see myself after trying this going out and actually purchasing one, and that's where I will lead this off to the end here.
Because it's the same price as MSRP as the 1924.
Right. And the other thing is if you actually look around Lexington right now, you can still buy this bottle in a few places. I've seen it on the shelf in a store in Georgetown. I think I've seen it on a Kroger shelf, and I may have seen it one other place. And so this released in November, I think, of 23. November, December, and it's not that it's sitting hard or anything like that. I think that some of these places have it marked up, but I just don't think that I'm as excited about it. Doesn't mean I discount it. I might be looking at next year's and thinking, wow, there's going to be some amazing finish, but I'm just, I'm a try, but I'm probably not going to buy a bottle.
There's a lot of words to say try.
I've worn them out.
For me, on the reason why it was just a try only is it's sweeter.
Right.
So some people that don't like traditional bourbon, it's like, they want something sweet. But those sweeter ones also don't have the spice that this has. So that's the only problem for the person potentially that's wanting to buy this because they're not usually into bourbon.
Right.
This still has too much sting and burn, I think, at the end to be for them as well. So that's why I'm just a try.
Okay. Yeah. No, I got that for sure. And so none of you guys are going to go hunting this bottle. I just told you it's still available in some places, probably in some markets in the United States as well. It'll be gone before 24 releases, I'm sure.
If you want a bottle, if I see it, I'll get it for you.
Yeah, if you there's a new dimension. If you want a bottle, message us and we'll go out and hunt one for you. But yeah, we actually get a lot of messages from people who are like, "What's the best way to hunt?" And I don't know. If any of us knew, we'd probably have something more lucrative than this podcast.
Yeah, in this area, it's it's too many full-time people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also, let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.